Yes.
The wonder that no.
Yeah, well, you should see the other guy.
Alright, so for those of you just tuning in, we're about to spectate a 3v3 on Arabia between 6 inexperienced rookie players who were selected from my Twitch TV chat during my weekly Age of Empires 2 community live stream. If you would like to know when I'm live streaming, you should totally follow me on Twitch TV, Facebook, and Twitter, as I'll leave you a little announcement and whatnot. So yeah, wow, it looks like we actually loaded into this after 4 attempts. It finally worked! Oh my god. If you're wondering why I'm not using the spectator function in Aoe2 HD, I mean the last like 8 times we tried it on stream, just non-stop, out of sync, weird errors and bugs, like we could control other people's units and stuff, like, it was amazing. Like, I could control people's units. I felt like God. So anyway, I have to end up doing this really ghetto thing, where I've got this invincible king right up here, and I have spies, and that way I can spectate live and give them advice. And yes, thank you Liberty Prime. Today was a bad day for the live stream, definitely, because of the communists turned out to win today. Because this is like attempt number 4 to actually get me to successfully spectate a rookie match. But anyway, I believe this is the 4th installment in my series, Resonance Teaches Rookie Players. If you'd like to join in on this, man, you gotta join my live stream. That's how you gotta do it. At the moment I live stream every Friday, but you know, that is subject to change, based on my schedules. You never know, so we roll with it. Anyway, let's go talk about what the players are actually doing now that I'm done talking about Stalin and Liberty Prime actually pulled through and everybody connected this time. I swear to God, Aoe2 guys. Anyway, what you want to do right off the bat is, you know, you want to take the first villagers that you spawn with, like the 3 villagers, or 4 if you're Mayans, or 6 if you're Chinese, or whatever, and you want to build 2 houses right off the bat. 2 houses. I see everybody's doing this 2 houses thing. This is good. This is good. Gold star for everybody except you're Huns. So that's different. But all right, gold stars everywhere. Now, here's the first mistake I've actually witnessed, though. This is problem. I know what you're thinking. Resonance comrade. Where is problem? What are you, comrade problems? Yes, actually. If you look at this right here, when you're building your houses, you always want to leave enough space between your town centers and your houses so that there's actually room for a farm. You want there to be rooms for a farm on all sides of your town center. And if you look here, there's only a space to fit a house right here. You need an additional tile for a farm, so these houses are too close to Cat's Piece TC right now. So they're too close. These are fine though, because again, there's at least enough room for farms. This is good, enough room for farms. See here, this is the exact minimum distance that you could have here in Digger's base between his house and his TC. This is just enough room for a farm, which is exactly what you want. Because again, your town center serves as universal resource drop-off point. You might as well use it to its fullest potential. Also, since Cat here, our teal player, has been harvesting from several different deer at once. You do. Several different sheep at once. Notice how these sheep are decaying. Oh no, they're losing all this food to the void, so that the communists are taking all of this food. We don't need your government handouts. But anyway, yeah, all this food is being lost to the void, right? Which is really bad. This is so much food that's disappearing right now because we've got all these decaying bodies. So, ideally, I mean, this is a kind of harder thing for newer players to pick up on, but as you get more experience with the game, it's ideal that you harvest from a minimum number of animals at once. So that would mean that, you know, there's only a minimum number of bodies decaying and losing food. So, ideally, you only want to harvest from 1 sheep at a time, and then preferably, you know, like 1 boar at a time as well. It's just that's just definitely recommended. So anyway, after you build those houses, right, with your first few builds, what you want to do is you want to put the first 6 villagers that you have on sheep. First 6 villagers that you have on sheep. Now this can vary. I mean, you can put 5 on there for Britons and whatnot, because that does happen definitely. But 6 on sheep is standard, and then after you get 6 on sheep. And the reason you want 6 on sheep, guys, is because that's like the minimum number to constantly get enough food income to continuously produce villagers. Because what you want to do in Age of Empires 2, always, is you want to get to this goal of 100 plus villagers ASAP. You want to get 100 plus villagers as fast as you can, ideally. And obviously it depends on your population settings. You might want more than 100 villagers, that's for certain. And depending on your needs, but 100 is just this golden number for 200 and up. So you want to get there ASAP, and if you want to get there ASAP, you definitely want your town center to be continuously producing villagers. That's for certain. And to do that, you're going to need a stable food income, so 6 villagers on sheep is the way to go. Makes sense, right? And then after that, ideally you want to build your lumber camp and then put 3 villagers on your lumber camp, get some wood income going. You don't really want to start with a mill right off the bat just because you don't really need any extra food income, and you want to get your wood income rolling first, and it's more efficient to use the lumber camp than it is to chop from the trees next to your town center. Because if you're chopping from your lumber camp, your villagers don't have to walk so far as to drop off the wood, whereas the trees next to your town center, you know, they can be several tiles away, so it's all about minimizing the drop-off time, basically. Hello, Pistachio's girlfriend. Commissaires. Yes. It's more efficient if your villas are blocking each other. Absolutely, the Aztec. Yes. Yes. So anyway, yeah, 3 villagers in the lumber camp, and then after that you want to start hunting your boar. You may have noticed that the players here, you know, they're going to shoot the boar twice with their villager, and they're going to run it underneath their town center. They're going to lure it underneath their town center. I know what you're thinking, why would you harvest a boar underneath your town center? Why would you go through all this work to shoot it twice, take some damage on your villagers? Why not hunt the boar where it is? Again, it's all about being efficient, guys. And you don't want your villagers to have to walk so far to go drop the food off. I mean, I don't know where his boar was, but assuming it was like right here, like you gotta walk so far to this mill or this town center, it's ridiculous. But the drop-off distance that you have to do if you have it underneath your town center is nil. It's awesome. So we're gonna watch the god of autism here harvest from this boar. He's gonna shoot it twice, and then he's going to run it underneath his town center, right here, like so. Ideally, you want to harvest, you want to get your second boar just as your first boar is finishing. What I like to do in the Dark Age to keep things, I guess, relatively straightforward is I like to, every time I get a boar underneath my town center, and again, the first boar that you get should be a little after you put down your lumber camp, and get it saturated with 3 bills, is I like to build a Dark Age building. So when I get my first boar underneath my TC and I start harvesting from it, I like to put down my mill at my forage bush. And then when I get the second boar underneath my TC, just as the first boar is about to run out of food, I like to put down my mining camp and start mining from that right off the bat. Now, let's say your Dark Age kind of sucks, right? You know, you're having trouble getting to the Feudal Age at the same time as other people, you're just struggling, you have no idea what you're doing wrong. There's a lot of mistakes that I see people make. A common one, I guess, is really heavily investing in the wrong types of resources. Remember, your villagers are purely dynamic force guys. Like, they can... You know, one lumber camp, like a lumberjack, he can do anything that he wants to. Anything he sets his mind to. He can grow up to be anything, if he believes. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't want, like, all your villagers on wood in the Dark Age, for example. You don't want all of your villagers on gold. Honestly, in the Dark Age, you probably only need a maximum of 2 villagers on gold. I noticed that the God of Autism here actually has 4 villagers on gold, which, you know, might be excessive. You probably will never need more than 2 on gold in the Dark Age. And if you're going for like a Feudal Age rush of some sort, you don't want any villagers on gold unless you're going for like an archer rush. But again, that's risky because it'll be delayed. Okay, so basically here's the general rule of thumb. You want 2 villagers on gold, or like stone, or something like that in the Dark Age, to give you enough resources if you were going to do a fast Castle Age strategy. Meaning that, you know, you want to get to the Castle Age as fast as possible. So that way you can go do stuff with that tech advantage that you have. You'll never need more than 2 villagers on gold, or like stone for that, and you can always, you know, sell your stone to fast Castle Age, but that's typically suboptimal. I'd recommend just 2 vills on gold in the Dark Age, and that'll give you the 200 gold that you need to advance the Castle Age ASAP, but you'll never need more than 2 on gold. You'll never need more than 2. And if you're going for like a Feudal Age rush, you don't need villagers on gold at all, because that'll actually just slow down your Feudal Age. When you want to advance to the Feudal Age, it honestly depends on what strategy you're going for. So if you're going for a more, I guess, economically focused strategy, right, and you are trying for like a fast Castle Age, all this time that you're spending advancing to the next age, your town center isn't creating any new villagers. So all the villagers that you have are the villagers that you're going to have for the rest of the map, well, for the next few minutes, I guess. So if you have more villagers while you're advancing to the feudal age, right, you're going to have more time to stockpile more resources, which is perfect for the fast castle age, because the fast castle age means that you want to spend a little extra time in the dark age so that you get your 800 food and 200 gold, so that when you hit the feudal age, you will immediately be able to build your feudal age buildings, the blacksmith and the market usually, because they're the cheapest, and then just advance right off the bat. Usually if you're going for fast castle age and you're not going for some sort of like early castle age rush of some sort, usually blacksmith and market is the way to go, because they don't require a barracks, so you save some wood in that regard. So yeah, that's usually the general rule of thumb. But if you're going for a feudal age rush, you want to get to the feudal age quicker so you can surprise your opponent with the, like, surprise, I have skirmishers and scouts and whatnot. So you're going to want to get to the feudal age faster, so you're going to want to ignore your minerals basically in the dark age and just advance with less population. So fast castle age and anything that involves getting to the castle age quickly, whether you're fast castling and then you're going into some sort of boom, or you're fast castling to some sort of night rush or something, you're going to want to advance around 27 population. You want to advance off population and not the in-game time. And then if you're going for like a feudal age rush, anything from like 20 to 24 population is ideal. So anyway, it looks like the god of autism here, he's going to be sending some of his spearmen out here for a little bit of that Russian action. One thing that I would like to see the players do, oh, this is really good. So Cat over here, Cat123 MRT, he rebuilt his lumber camp so that it's much closer to the wood line. I really like to see this here. This is very, very good play on his part. Why? Because again, you want to minimize the amount of time that your villagers have to walk to drop off resources. So I would really like to see the god of autism do that too, and make sure that the players do get on that. Here comes a little feudal age rush here. Let's see, the power of cutlery's ass. Are throwing axes even worth it? Yes, but it depends. They're really, really strong against infantry, even though it's not like explicitly listed in their description, but the Franks really don't like dealing with halberdiers, and throwing axemen are extremely really good against those, because the Franks specialize in heavy cavalry. Alright, so what I like to see there is that the god of autism, he's targeting the external villagers. When you're rushing somebody, you always want to be focusing on their external villagers, the ones that are far away from the TC. Because the town center is like the worst thing ever when you're rushing someone. Because you cannot fight the town center without some siege weapons and heavy investment. You'll sustain heavy losses. It's not worth it. So what you want to do is you want to take all your feudal age infantry and whatnot, or your knights and stuff, and you want to keep them away from the town center unless you have a cosmic buttload of them, right? Keep them away from enemy town centers and focus on their external villagers, the ones that are far away from the TC, so that they're not in, your guys don't get hit by their town center. So like gold miners and lumber camps, and you want to ideally just harass those villagers and zone them off those resources. Now this is some good play here, is that he is targeting this knight with his spearman, but these knights will definitely get the better of the god of autism's army, and because Digger went for a fast castle age here, he's actually in a much stronger position than the god of autism. The god of autism is at a tech disadvantage right now, so he's going to want to get to the castle age ASAP if he wants to survive these knights. Yeah, it's good to see that he did rebuild the lumber camp, though. That's good. What he might want to do... Yeah, okay, he's making spearmen. That's nice. He could probably wall up some of his resources, put some palisade walls around his lumber camps if he wants to protect them, but he's probably in a fine position right now. Let's see what everyone else is doing. Everyone else appears to be doing relatively well. Oh, this is what I like to see. Looks like there was a little battle over here, but Killed by Nobody is using some of his buildings and the natural terrain as a makeshift wall off. This is a very important thing you want to do, is with this blacksmith and these two palisades and using this gold mine, he's actually protecting this lumber camp quite a bit. If the opponent wants to attack Killed by Nobody's lumber camp on the left side, they're going to have to walk all the way around, and it's going to be such a pain in the butt. It's just easier to defend. It's harder for him to get to that wood line. And in the earlier stages of the game, protecting your wood line is 100% of the game. Like, that's where your success comes in, is protecting your wood line. Now, Crumblehead looks like he has definitely lost a lot of units here to Killed by Nobody. It looks like he's in pretty big trouble, honestly. So what he's going to need to do to get back in this game is he's going to need to replace every single villager that he lost. Like, that's I think a pretty common mistake that I see players make, is that they're like, alright, I gotta get to this goal of 100 plus villagers ASAP, and then it just forgets to replace all the villagers that they lost in a rush. Your town center should always be working, guys. The most important thing in Aoe2 is to keep your town center always working. It should always be producing units. Alright, this is good. The God of Autism did upgrade to pikemen here, so this will be pretty cool to watch. Alright, Digger also is doing something really cool here. Digger actually has the defense upgrade, the level 1 defense upgrade for his knights. This is very, very important. With your melee units, you really want to prioritize those defense upgrades. You really, really do. Why? Because ironically, you get to do more damage if you get those melee blacksmith upgrades for the defense first. Because if the extra defense allows you to survive long enough to get one more full attack off, that's so much better than like 1 or 2 extra attack damage. Also, it means these take a lot less damage from ranged units like the town center and whatnot. It really lets your raiding and harassing just be a lot better. So I'd really like to see the level 1 defense upgrade for these pikemen from the God of Autism here. It'll probably be really good. A really, really solid flush here from Killed by Nobody. In terms of ranged units, by the way, you definitely want to prioritize Fletching, Bodkinero, and Bracer. The upgrades that add extra range and attack damage, because getting the first shot is basically the equivalent of getting a whole nother hit off. So, makes the big difference. Definitely makes the big difference. And yeah, Franks don't get bloodlines, but they essentially get it for free based off their Civ bonus. And here's what I like to see. Digger hit the Castle Age man, and you know what he did right off the bat? He's remembering this golden rule. Gotta get your goal of 100 plus villagers as fast as possible. And he knows the keyword is as fast as possible, right? So you know what he's doing? He spared no expense. Tons of town centers. Tons of town centers. I'd like to see a picture of like Freak with like tons of town centers. Like that's what you need to do when you hit the Castle Age. Tons of town centers. Oh my god, Killed by Nobody? Another town center. This is what I'm talking about. And look, he's got all these spearmen stationed around his base so that when the knights come in, his knights are a really common raiding unit on these open maps like Arabia, he can easily defend. This is very, very good. Very, very good. So what are the other golden rules of AoE2? Again, the most important thing you guys can do is to make sure your town center is always working. That's like important thing number 1. Try and get your goal of 100 plus villagers ASAP. That goes hand in hand. Prioritize your defense upgrades for melee units in the blacksmith. Just don't forget your blacksmith upgrades in general, guys. Try and get those out pretty quickly. Obviously, don't prioritize those over making troops, because what's the point of having all of your upgrades and no army? It's better to have an army with no upgrades than all the upgrades and no army, obviously. But still, don't dilly-dally on those upgrades. Fletching is huge, huge, huge. Other important things is vary your army composition, and this isn't really relevant until late game, but this is so very important, and I still this is just how the game works, guys. There's no other way to explain it besides making only one type of unit in the late game, like literally just won't work, because AoE2 is a game about being efficient. It's about being efficient, right? And if you think about it, an army of 40 hand cannoneers versus like 40 champions will cost relatively, you know, like, they'll cost similar amounts of resources. Obviously, hand cannoneers will cost less food and more gold, but like that's still a lot of money from both sides. But the hand cannoneers will win handily in that battle. Like 40 hand cannoneers versus 40 champions, like it's going to be a slaughter. There'll probably be like 20 hand cannoneers left after that. So who ended up spending the most money there? That would be the poor sap with all the champions. The hand cannoneer guy probably spent less food overall too then, because he only lost like half as many hand cannoneers. So, you know, you want to be building unit counters. You want to build units that are strong against your opponent. It's all about conserving resources in that regard. And that's how you win battles and get momentum. So, you know, the God of Autism, he's just like, yo, this Franks player, he's spamming tons of knights. I'm gonna go pikeman. This is good. This is smart. I like to see this. However, what I would like to see Digger's response is to get some of those anti-pikeman units. Like, I'm talking about like maybe some long swordsmen, crossbowmen in the later stages of the game. Definitely hand cannoneers are optimal, or like throwing axemen, but hand cannoneers are the ideal choice to deal with these. And it's all about creating a well-balanced army composition, guys. You want a well-balanced army composition. Your army should cover the weaknesses of the other units, because you know your opponent's going to react. Like, Aoe2 is like rock, paper, scissors, right? Really, really cool to see Digger making some crossbows here to deal with these pikemen. Super duper smart from him. Because, yeah, Aoe2 is like rock, paper, scissors, right? So, pikemen beat knights, crossbowmen beat pikemen. So, what does it make sense to do? Knights and crossbowmen. Because knights beat crossbowmen, right? So then, then your army comp is a lot more balanced. I'd say a really, really strong Frank army composition would be hand cannoneers combined with knights. Why? Because, you know, knights, again, they're weak to halberdiers, and hand cannoneers just decimate those. And then you're going to need some siege units in every single army comp. You're going to need some siege units. So attack on some bombard cannons and you're good. You got something for buildings, you've got something for those pesky halberdiers, and you've got something for basically everything else, because the Frank Paladins are very, very scary and do tons of damage. I do like the Crumblehead here while he was getting rushed. Did try to wall off, but he did not wall off all the way. And unless he gets some serious help from his teammates, he's basically screwed at this point. I admire his tenacity though, but he's in deep, deep, deep trouble right now, and I think he recognizes that. He's either going to need some heavy tribute from his teammates or some serious, serious army. Now here's one thing though, is I'd really, really like to see Teal make more town centers. If you look at the guys, if you look at their score, guys, this is how you can tell if you're falling behind in the eco aspect of the game. It's really, really important that if you look at it, and as we can see right now, is that the players that are falling behind, which would be Crispy Ginger Pie and like Cat and Crumblehead, where's their extra TCs? The answer is, well, Crispy Ginger Pie has one extra one, but that's it. Like, score for the most part, at least in the early stages of the game and throughout the game, is actually heavily, heavily based on the strength of your economy. And I know your military plays a huge role in the size of your score, obviously, but your military size is actually directly influenced by your economy. Without an economy, you can't have a military. So, that's what it is. You open up the score thing, and if you notice you're behind, you're lagging behind everybody, that means your eco sucks. The goal is to get enough villagers that producing a military does not run you out of resources. That's the goal. So I'm making tons of archers, right, and I'm constantly running out of gold, and I'm floating like 50k wood. Well, I know that I should take some of my lumberjacks off and put them on gold. But let's say I'm like not floating a massive amount of any resource, but I'm still running out of gold when I'm making archers. That just means I need more gold miners. I need to make more villagers, make more gold miners until that stops happening. How many TCs would be considered too much eco? That's a good question. I think it really varies. I would say like 5 town centers is the... I don't know if there's really a limit. I'd say 6 TCs is probably the limit, but like 4 to 5 is optimal. Because once you reach your goal, like, of 100 plus villagers, and for 300 pop games, you know, it's probably going to be like 150 villagers that you're going to want total. Because again, it's whatever it takes to mean that constantly producing an army out of multiple military buildings doesn't run you out of resources. And once you reach that goal, those town centers don't do too much for you, and they can be a huge stone investment, definitely. It can be a pretty big stone investment, so... But it's pretty hard to get too many of them. I mean, you never really want to go beyond 6, but your town centers also do protect your villagers, so I like to keep my town centers around my farms. And when it comes to placing them, make sure you guys always place them at least next to one resource. You don't want to put them really in any... At least your first few town centers. You can put the other ones in sort of randomish locations to protect your farmers, of course, but in the early stages, what you want to do is you want to put them next to wood primarily, or the minerals, because again, those are the so very important in the early game. Wood is everything. I really like to see that these crossbowmen coming out here, these crossmen are going to be so very good against these pikemen. The cavalry archers from the God of Autism here don't really make too much sense to me. They make great raiding units, of course, but they don't really specialize against anything that Digger is making. So Aoe2 basically starts with you picking military units based on your civilization strengths. That's the first start. And then when you see what your opponent shows, you just keep adapting to whatever he's making. And, you know, your unit counters will vary, obviously, based on whatever civ you're making, because, like, if you're the Turks, for example, your spearmen suck. In the Castle Age, you don't really want to be making too many spearmen as the Turks, because you don't actually get the pikeman upgrade, which is super awkward. And, you know, again, if the opponent's making archers and your Turks, you don't get elite skirmishers either. So, you know, your counters will vary on the civ. Like, not everyone has camels, for example. Pretty good mangonel hit there. The thing is you know, Cat has a pretty big army here, but... Oh, this is very poor unit control, though. He's just walking right in, and he took so much damage for free before he finally hit them, but... I mean, these longswordsmen are relatively threatening, I suppose, but, you know, they can just get kited by the cavalry archers all day. But actually, it looks like Killed by Nobody has no upgrades, and Cat actually... Ooh, with all those blacksmith upgrades, that's what I like to see. Good to see him helping his teammate now, finally. That's really nice of him to do that. I probably would have come in a lot earlier, though. And he might want to invest in something else besides these mass... Oh, looks like he's choosing Scorpions. Scorpions are good against these heavy cav archers, so... It's a reasonable choice. I'd probably, if I were him though, I'd make skirmishers, elite skirmishers, honestly. On the Byzantines, they're super cheap and they're just very effective counter units. Alright, see Digger here, again man, with the rock, paper, scissors. Solid play here. He's making skirmishers. Why? Because he's noticed that his opponent is investing in these cavalry archers, and but the god of autism here, he's also going skirmishers, man. And this is how Aoe2 is. It's a game of, it's a super game of rock, paper, scissors, guys. Doing some serious damage here with the raiding. I love this. Great control from the god of autism here. Prioritize those external villagers. And look at him, he's forcing Digger to move all this army over here. Imagine if he did some coordinated attack at the front right now, while he's luring this army away with these conquistadors. Some serious eco damage here. Very well played from the god of autism here. Pretty heavy, pretty reasonable army size, honestly, from our Huns player over here, Green. Good to see that he got Bodcanero, definitely. He's going to want to get a stable out, though, so that he can get the Bloodlines upgrade for his heavy cavalry archers, because they are considered mounted units, so they do benefit from Bloodlines. He'll also probably want Husbandry as well. The Husbandry is a little less important. It's pretty expensive, definitely. I'm going to see a pretty big battle up here right now. Looks like these two players are going to team up and try and take down Digger. Digger is a huge threat right now, and you know, if Digger's going to want to defend this, he's got a really solid economy. This is great. He's been building up his economy this entire time. Look at this. You want to be playing Farming Simulator, guys. Alright, look at this. He's intelligently recognizing the situation, and look at him. He's putting down tons of extra military buildings. If he's going to take on this enemy army, he's going to need a lot more production. And because his army comp was honestly superior, and he had the counter units, look at how he won that battle 2v1! 2v1! Because he had the appropriate units for the situation. He was basically outnumbered in a 2-to-1 ratio, and he managed to win that battle anyway because he had unit counters. And wow, yeah, really good harassment here from the god of autism. He's probably going to lose a lot of these units, but the nice thing with trash units is they're not really that expensive. I think if they're going to take down Digger, because Digger has this great castle placement here that protects all of his farmers and his wood line and whatnot, they're going to need a lot more, they're going to probably need to get to the Imperial Age and get like a trebuchet. Although, here's a common mistake, is that people will ring the town bell. Look at this. None of these villagers are under attack right now in Digger's base. So the ones on the right are not under attack, and they were inside these TCs this entire time. They're basically considered idle at that point. And there's no reason to do that. When your base is under attack, I recommend just selecting a bunch of your villagers with a box function like this, and then pressing G to garrison them inside that TC, and then when you're done, you just press the ungarrison all, or sorry, send back to work button. You want to press the send back to work button, though. Easy sneezy. You just select the ones that are in threat of dying, and then, yeah, you just put them away. So yeah, Digger playing extremely well here. That definitely did inflate his score. He's probably going to need, you know, a lot more production facilities, and if he keeps expanding his eco, which I'd love to see him do, he might be able to pull this game out of his butt. Against all odds, I do like to see that Crumblehead is trying to get back in this game. It's good to see him constantly trying to recreate his villagers. You have to do this, guys. You have to build back every villager that you've lost, and there's no real reason for Crumblehead to resign, considering that two of his teammates are relatively untouched. I think a general rule of thumb is you don't quit until the other half of your team has also suffered some degree of losses. Because right now these two are holding strong, and you never know if they'll be able to pull this game out of their butt, and you're still useful to an extent. Although, if I were him, I'd probably not have any villagers on gold, and I'd probably, because that's not doing anything for him. Okay, now that he's hit the castle age, this is huge. He should get his villagers the hell out of there, and he should build his base behind the teal, where he's safe, and just build back. Because, if anything, even though he's basically mostly dead, if his two teammates can hold the line, he can distribute them resources and still be useful. But, you know, it's on a case-by-case basis, of course. Sometimes you've just clearly lost, but if, you know, half your team has been completely untouched, I would give them a chance to see if they can pull it off. Well, once your teammates do lose their army, though, and they're clearly in trouble, I would just resign and not stall the game out endlessly. That's just how I roll with it. Ooh, these Scorpions are going to get absolutely decimated here, though. I would like to see our Spanish player, the God of Autism, here build a stable so he can get the Bloodlines upgrade for his mounted units as well. But good to see that he is remembering, though, that the ranged upgrades, the defense ones, do apply to your mounted gunpowder units. I do not really like this choice of units, though, from CatSmart here. I feel like he's not playing to his civilization's strength. The Byzantines specialize in mass trash units, And what he's doing here is he's building tons of long swordsmen, which seems kind of silly, doesn't it, when you think about it? Because what is he trying to deal with? He's trying to deal with our Spanish players' hand cannoneers, and hand cannoneers counter infantry. It seems rather strange to me that you would want to use infantry to deal with these. And it's not like it's like halberdiers versus conquistadors, in which they both have an attack bonus versus each other, but even then the halberdiers will still lose because they're slower. But now I want to see some like elite skirmishers right now. I want to see some archer ranges, man. I don't want to see this mass longswordsman. See, Catman, he's just sticking to one type of unit for the entire game, and this is not gonna fly. This is not gonna work. The god of autism is too smart for this. He has seen through your ruse. And he's got these hand cannoneers, and he does not fear your longswordsmen. You know who else doesn't fear your longswordsmen? Mr. Mass Cavalry Archers over here also doesn't fear them. So I'd really like to see him try and swap into something that's really good against the units that he's facing. You can't just be a one-trick pony all game. Otherwise, you make the game way too easy for your opponents, because Cat is definitely very useful at this stage. He's got a stronger economy than Crispy Ginger Pie, and he's definitely one of the top players in this particular match, but what he could really use is a different variety of units. It also looks like he's falling behind in score. Why? Because where's the extra town centers? It looks like his economy is kind of strong. He does have quite a few villagers, but he's going to need a lot more if he wants to compete with everybody. The people who are behind in score this game is because their eco is just too darn weak. Crispy Ginger Pie is just behind in Vills right now. Crumblehead is understandably behind in Vills. I mean, the poor guy has been heavily assaulted all game killed by nobody, and, you know, it's harsh. But what he can do is he can build back. Starting from Cat Smart's base over here, where he's all nice, safe, and protected and walled off, I want to see tons of town center for this and try and get back in this game to the best of his ability. If he can do that, then he can get back in this game and make all the difference. I bet he can outboom Crispy Ginger Pie in no time at all. He just needs several town centers back here. His teammates contribute him some resources. He can be right back in this game. They're going to need every little bit of help they can. And yeah, if Digger's going to defend against this massive incoming attack from red and green soon, when they get on that, he's going to need more unit production facilities. Looks like he's got quite a few. I would like to see University out from him so he can get Chemistry. I think that'd be really good. Oh, no, he has a University, but I would like to see Chemistry. Hand Cannoneers will probably be really solid against the Halberdiers that he knows that Red has already. And yeah, Crumblehead's main base is definitely going to die here. Yeah, what he's going to definitely want to do, yeah, is just make multiple TCs in Cat Smart's base and just constantly pump out villagers. Constantly pump out these villagers. He can get back in this game if he booms. He can definitely do that. And if Teal makes enough vills to get on the same score as everybody else in this game, then he's good too. Good, alright, it's really good to see Crumblehead building back. I really admire his tenacity, man. This guy has been taking some serious punishment all game, and he doesn't give up. And he's really trying his best, and I admire that, I really do. Yeah, this is the inexperienced player match. So I'm definitely looking forward to this huge battle between red and purple and green, but what we're gonna need is some different types of units from Cat. Again, he's just not playing to his Civ strengths right now. You know what, I see him building knights. Again, that's just not the Byzantine strengths. Champions, not the Byzantine strengths. Scorpions, there's nothing that the Byzantines get that the Scorpions are particularly good at. Also, so basically you've got two options in the beginning, which is either play to your Civ strengths, or play to the opposing enemy unit's weaknesses, and he's not really doing either here. He knows that the green player has a sick obsession with cavalry archers, and it looks like he's considering tacking on some cavaliers, so champions don't really help with that in any way. Halberdiers would be a decent option, and I'd like to see some skirmishers. I'd really like to see some skirmishers. Camels would be huge here too. Well, actually, no, never mind. There's a ton of pikemen for green too, but I'd really like to see Cat build units to his Civ strengths. I want to see skirmishers, halberdiers, and then maybe some hand cannoneers or something like that. Onagers, bombard cannons. These scorpions don't really do too much. Mangonels would definitely be better, because there's just nothing really special about Byzantine scorpions, I guess. Well, anyway, enough about that. If he alters his unit choices, I think this game could be huge. He also might need to send some of his champions will actually be very helpful against the Spanish player, actually. These mass champions and Scorpions will decimate Red's army, actually, his entire army. Not this army over here, the harassment thing. Oh, did he just delete this gate? Oh my goodness. I wouldn't delete that gate. But I'd probably send some of these two-handed swordsmen to go help Purple, because Purple is fighting against the player that, you know, halberdiers and skirmishers are extremely weak to champions. So, in that particular case, the champions would be very useful, but the champions are not going to help at all against Green, and Green's their primary opponent. Right now, this match is sort of devolved into a 2v2 as Crumblehead tries to boom off this, and if he keeps up this villager production in his little, in his town centers up in the top part of the map, if he keeps it up and he keeps making vills here, and he tries to get to that goal of 100 villagers ASAP, maybe he'll throw down another TC. He can get back in this game and he can win it for his team. I know he can. I know he absolutely can. And yeah, you see, the thing is, his cat, he's right next to Green. So he should probably be building units to deal with Green. And Crispy Ginger Pie is making quite a big army himself, being the Britons. So here's the thing. You're playing against the Britons as well, on this side. So, what do you expect the Britons to make? You expect the Britons to make longbowmen, probably, or like archers, arbalists, skirmishers, you know, tons of ranged units. Probably archers, longbowmen, you know, less so skirmishers, but they do happen. And what's their other strength? Infantry. You can expect to see quite a bit of infantry, preferably champions, because champions are good against, you know, huskarls and whatnot. So they do happen to, you know, the halberdiers. So infantry are really, really good at dealing with those pesky melee units that those archers really don't like playing against. So that's what you can expect. Champions don't really, they don't make much sense to me. Champions are sure really, really good against pikes and skirms, but this guy only has a couple pikes in here. Why? Because he knows that his opponent's not making that many horses, so he doesn't really need it. So again, champions doesn't make sense to me, because they're getting gunned down from a distance by all these ranged units. I'd really, really, really like to see a wider variety of units here from him, not these two-handed swordsmen. These two-handed swordsmen are going to do diddly squats. Also, again, his economy is pretty weak. These masked cavaliers are also an interesting choice, knowing that his opponents have tons of anti-cavalry units like pikemen. And the Byzantine paladins are subpar. I mean, they're missing bloodlines and they're missing blast furnace. So if you wanted to mass paladins, I'd probably play the Franks. Alright, so here comes the huge attack on Purple. He's going to need massive, massive assistance from Teal here. Like, he's going to need to, Teal's going to need to actually send his guys. I might want to just tell Teal. Teal might want to vary army. I'll just straight up tell him, because I don't think he's actually listening. Anyway, you also need to help. You also needs to help your opponent. No, this isn't GG. I mean, it just would be GG if Teal... I don't think Purple realizes how much the time Teal is spending massing guys, but again, Teal's eco is just not up to snuff. And I do like that Crumblehead is trying to rebuild here, but again, his eco is just way too weak. He's not making enough vills. He needs to, like, quadruple the amount of vills that he has here. Like, these 10 centers in the top corner need to constantly be producing vills. Until you reach that goal of 100 plus, don't stop making vills. Set to, like, advance, obviously. And it looks to me like he's nowhere near 100, and that's just not going to cut it. Like, he's making skirmishers now, but imagine how many he could make if his eco was stronger. And here comes the Cavaliers from Teal here. Again, these are going to make a huge difference. Like, these guys can totally win as long as Yellow gets his eco in gear and Teal does as well, and Teal starts making some units that actually play to his Civ's strengths. But yeah, see, look at this, look at this. These guys can totally win this game. They can totally win this game. It might be difficult, but you know, it's definitely possible. Oh, here's actually another common rookie mistake, I guess, that a lot of players make, is this castle placement is questionable. The reason being is that, yes, I know Yellow's getting raped. I've talked about it a million times now. Anyway, this castle placement is questionable at best, and the reason being is that you don't want to put your castles in a place that they are really easily trebbed. With trebuchets, because trebuchets are like the worst thing for castles. They're like the worst. Castles that, oh please don't fight those halberdiers with your cavaliers. Okay, good. He is backing them off. That's good. That's good. I would really like look at all this. Look at all these halberdiers and melee units. It just seems to me like hand cannoneers are the natural choice. Hand cannoneers and skirmishers, man. Teal, I'd love to see them. All right, here comes the archer range. That's good, very good. But again, look at all these idle guys. He knows he's being attacked. I would really like to see if Teal would take his army and just attack these guys. But that's fine. He'll learn someday. Everybody was a rookie at one point, I guess. Anyway, yeah, these castles are in a horrible position because they're so easily hit with trebuchets. Like a trebuchet could deploy over here and just attack this castle, and there's no way for Cat to be able to take out those trebuchets. So I really okay, good. He's defending now. I would really recommend putting your castles in a place that protects your eco. Ideally, you want your castles to be in an area that is easy for you to defend the castle, because castles are very, very good buildings at discouraging raiding from your opponent. However, they're super weak to trebuchets and bombard cannons and stuff, so you want to put them in a nice open area, ideally, in which they are easily defended. So if you put them closer to his TC, it would protect his town center from being raided by like horses and whatnot, but it'd be much harder to treb this. I don't like this either, that people are parking their units right underneath this castle. And I think this castle has maybe killed like 40 units or something like that. And yeah, Cat can just devastate this entire forward here. And yeah, this is working out because they sacked all their ranged units to this castle. But normally this is not going to be ideal castle placement. You never want to put them right up against your walls. You never want to do that. I know it seems like it makes sense because it's protecting your walls, but it's really not protecting your walls. Because these castles are so expensive, they're so easily destroyed by these ranged siege units. They're like sitting ducks. It's like putting down a giant neon sign on them, and it's like, please, please trebuchet me. Oh, look at me, I'm so vulnerable. He really shouldn't pull those cavaliers back, though. I don't know why he's not. I don't know why he's pulling those back. Purple's got to step up the army production if he wants to defend this, but I guess this match is actually looking like it's basically over. I guess, okay, yellow is building his eco up now, but too little too late. I'm going to say that this match probably could have been different if there was, I guess, more effective unit choices from the players, but yeah, this is probably over. Yeah, no, they can call GG whenever they want. I'm not a player. But yeah, looks like this match is finally over though. So this is the time when I've resigned, just because both sides are completely lost at this point. It was a worthy shot though. I mean, both sides actually played extremely well. I got to see a lot of good plays here. Red though is missing some of his blacksmith upgrades, but again, you know, these players seem to have a pretty consistent head on their shoulders, and provided that they build up their ecos a little faster, obviously some of them built them up just fine, but Crispy Ginger Pie, Cat, and Crumblehead could have probably built their ecos up a little faster. I mean, in Crumblehead's case, I mean, he literally he doesn't have his original base, so totally understandable, but in terms of Cat and Crispy Ginger Pie, they probably definitely could have reached that goal of 100 plus villagers a lot quicker. With extra 10 centers, making sure your TC isn't idle, and, you know, just making tons of vills. And it definitely took a long time with that, and it's understandable, especially in Crumblehead's case. Although now that Crumblehead is back in this game, blacksmith upgrades are important, but it's good to see him finally getting an army out. Poor guy had a really, really rough game. Again, I admire his tenacity, but it is unfortunately GG. It was really a pleasure to watch this game, and I hope you guys found it useful / entertaining in some way or another. If you did, you know, if you guys could leave me a like rating on this video, it really, really helps me a lot. As well as, you know, subscribe to my channel for future videos. I very much appreciate it. There's plenty of other stuff on my YouTube channel, of course, that you'll probably enjoy, so give those a look as well. I also do live stream regularly, as I say rather frequently, so if you do follow me on Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, that way you'll know when I'm live streaming and keep up to date with whatever is new in the life of Resonance and Age of Empires 2 in general. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I appreciate the support as always, and we will be continuing the live stream shortly. I'm going to be leaving this particular match now that it is over. I see no reason to continue spectating this, as it is basically an overmatch, and then we're going to get back into the next match of the live stream in just a few minutes. So stick around. I hope you guys found this useful. My hope is that through doing this series and involving you guys in this directly, is that you'll all feel a little more confident as players in general. That's the goal here. Alright, so GG everybody. Let's go check out the achievements. I'm actually kind of curious to see... Okay. Some pretty good stuff here. Yellow definitely a trooper there. Stuck around to the bitter end. He might be ending up making his last stand. Yeah, see, this is good. This is good. This, though, this is what I'm talking about. So, yeah, Yellow did finally get to that goal of 100+ villagers. Oh my god, huge props to this guy. He literally doesn't have a single building left from his original base, and he still got to that goal of 100+ villagers. The term nailed it applies right now. It may have taken him a little while, but he did do it. And that's what really matters. That's what really matters in the end, is he did do it. He actually got that despite all of the damage that he sustained. Digger and Crispy Gingerpond probably could have made a few more villagers, though. Because, again, the goal, guys, is 100+, and based on the population settings of the game, you might need more than that, so... I'd say like 150 is probably a more reasonable number to shoot for, like 120-ish, in that range. You know, whatever it takes that when producing units doesn't cause you to run out of money. So, this is good. Cat, though, Cat's nowhere near enough villagers. Nowhere near. He never actually reached that goal of 100+, and in an hour-long game, just no. Just no. You can't do that. So, 100 is the absolute minimum. See? Alright, well anyway guys, I hope you really enjoyed watching this again, so thank you for the support as always, I really appreciate it. I'm very, very blessed to have such a great viewer base. And we're going to get on the next match of the live stream in just a moment, so stick around, stick around.